Hi everyone, my name is Philippe. I'm head of partnerships at Umbrella Network. We are a decentralized oracle that is currently deploying on MultiversX. Together with me in the room is Dariusz, our blockchain lead developer, and I'm gonna talk today about the state of the industry in the oracle business. So let's start at the beginning. Why do we actually need oracles? So blockchains are a closed ecosystem by design. They need to be closed to ensure security and integrity, but this also makes them blind to what's happening in the outside world. So whenever data feeds from the outside world are needed, you need an infrastructure to actually provide it in a secure manner. So let's do a small exercise. Anyone could actually create an oracle tomorrow. You start up a node, you connect to an API, you use a single source of data, and you start writing data on chain. This data could be used in your smart contracts to automate whatever you want, but there are some issues with it, right? So we need to ask the right questions. Is this secure? Is this node potentially going to be exploited or hacked? Is the data source that we're using also not hackable? And in the end, if the node is down and we're not writing on-chain, what happens to the smart contracts on-chain? So if we use this example and we go point by point, so we need to make sure that the data that we use is accurate. How do we achieve that? By using a varied set of data sources. So the more data sources, the less likely it is that we have a single point of failure or that the data that is injected into the blockchain is wrong. So oracles fetch this data from different sources, verify, and then do any sort of calculation on top of it to have the data required written on chain. So once this data is on chain, you still need to do some sort of verification because this data could be old, so you check the timestamp in order to make sure that the data is fresh enough for your smart contract to use. And on top of that, you also have to make sure that the person or the node that wrote on chain is a trusted source that you're using. So in order to ensure the security, it is more likely you're better off using a decentralized network of validators. So again, to avoid the single point of failure that this single node represents. So having a decentralized network of independent validators helps control the data that is being written on chain. It helps verify all the data at the same time, run consensus on the data feeds that are written into the blockchain, and improves the reliability. So if one node goes down, there's still a few more nodes that make it possible to write on chain. So those are the features that projects have to look at when they choose their oracle providers, just to minimize the risks and to optimize the operations of their protocols. And then there is one more thing that you need to take into account when you create a project that will use oracles. It's the cost, because the cost is either paid by the project or maybe the project wants the end user to actually pay for the price feeds. So we all know that writing on chain is a costly endeavor. So the more you write, the more you have to pay. So currently, there are two different types of solutions that are being offered in the industry, the push and the pull oracle. Right now, there is an industry standard that is the push oracle still. It is the industry standard because that's the first one that was developed. Pretty much these oracle nodes write the data on chain. It is available, and smart contract can just go and read it. The pull oracle has a different mechanism, so it is off-chain data that is being secured on-chain in various ways, but then you would have to retrieve the data from this off-chain solution, either through an API or however it works, and then inject it into the blockchain and verify it there. So bottom line is, currently push oracle are still industry standard in most cases. What are the different features of each oracle? So the push oracle, as I explained, makes the data readable on-chain, so the consensus is happening off-chain or on-chain. The calculation of the data feeds happens on-chain, and once it's there, you can read it, and your smart contract can read it and then automate whatever function you need. The good thing is that you don't need an off-chain worker, so you just rely on the data that's being fed on-chain, and you read it straight from the Oracle smart contracts. So, but you have to take into account that the data is always going to be written on-chain, whether your protocol is actually using it or not. So you define the parameters that you need, the deviation threshold or the heartbeat, and this is something that you have as a running cost. On the pull oracle side, we have some advantages, so usually lower latency. Why? Because the cost of updating the prices off-chain is lower. You don't need to write it on-chain constantly, so you can increase the frequency of updates. And the second advantage is that in the end you could shift the cost to the end user and include it in the transaction, because this would happen on demand. So the transaction is triggered, then you pull the data and add it into the smart contract for you to use it. So you reduce the operating cost of the protocol, and the end user bears that cost. The main friction with pull oracles at the moment is that protocols usually don't like having off-chain workers or off-chain processes. They prefer having the smart contracts running and reading the data on-chain and not have to run any sort of infrastructure or off-chain logic themselves. So at Umbrella, we understand that there are different needs in the market. Some projects will use pull oracles for specific reasons. Some will continue using on-chain data, and we developed several solutions. So our first solution that we are now deploying on MultiversX, and we're very excited because this is happening in the next few days, and we will be the first decentralized oracle live on MultiversX, is the on-chain data solution, so the industry standard solution. Who needs that? In general, lending protocols are the main users of on-chain data. Bridges, in some cases, want to have this data on-chain, and then random number that can be used by Web3 games or any sort of projects that need to randomize an outcome. Our other solution is a data roll-up solution that aims to reduce the cost of transaction per data point. We pretty much leverage Merkle tree, where we aggregate thousands of data points, or as many as you want, and what we secure on-chain is the root hash. So again, this is a pull solution, so you would need to retrieve the data from our API and then run the Merkle proof on-chain to verify the accuracy of the data. So if the Merkle proof is correct, then it means that the data has not been tampered with. Who needs that? I mean, we've just heard something about dynamic NFTs that could be linked to real-world data. Let's say a dynamic NFT needs to change based on the average temperature in a specific location, and this is randomized. So we could bring end-of-day average temperature of specific places in one transaction on the blockchain. So instead of paying for all those data points that need to be written on-chain at once at a time in the on-chain data solution. Prediction markets might need that, if they want sports results. There are a lot of football games happening in the world, so bringing them all on-chain at once can also make sense. Or some refi protocols that need to secure carbon offset data just to keep a track record of what is happening. And the last solution that we're working on right now is the on-demand solution. The on-demand is needed more by decentralized perpetual spot trading or derivative platform. Why? Because they need close to real-time data to avoid front-running, for example, in their protocols. So they are more likely to use a pull solution on demand because they have a specific need. So hopefully this is coming soon, and we will be able to deploy this on MultiversX sooner rather than later. So Umbrella is also focusing on custom Oracle solutions, so we could pull data on weather or prices from specific sources, or we could also work on off-chain computation. So we like to sit down with the projects, understand what type of data they need, where we need to fetch it, whether it's on-chain, off-chain, define the logic together with them, and then have our decentralized network of validators actually execute the logic before it's being pushed on-chain for the smart contract to be used. So oracles are all about data, bringing this data on-chain, and data has been the main driver of our economies in the last 20 years. The major corporations made millions, trillions on data. So if we bring data into the blockchain, we can actually amplify and expand the use cases in the blockchain by, I think, based on a report, 80 to 90%. So I'm going to give you a few use cases of what could be done with data that it's not available on-chain. Everyone is talking about real-world assets. We're speaking with projects who are tokenizing treasury bills, ETFs, or commodities that could be used in lending protocols as collateral, but the blockchain doesn't know what those prices, those commodities are priced at. So we need to bring this data on-chain in order for the systems to actually work. In prediction markets, let's take an example of a sports betting platform that wants to automate the payouts after the end of a game. They also need to know what the result of Barcelona, Real Madrid is, because the blockchain doesn't know. So this is the data that we can bring on chain, but this can work with any sort of prediction market, whether it's for political events or you name it. And here I'm mentioning gas fee TWAP because this is one of the custom solutions that we created recently for one of our partners. They wanted to automate the refund system of their keeper network, and they needed to know the average price of gas fees in a specific window. And we created this for them with on-chain data and all the logic that was needed behind it. So yeah, oracles are crucial for the blockchain. If we want to innovate, to create new Web3 economies. I hope I could explain a bit how it works, why oracles are needed, the features that you have to look at when you pick the oracle, and make sure that the data that you're using is actually trustworthy. So we're very thrilled to be part of the MultiversX ecosystem, to be here at xDay. And yeah, if you need any Oracle needs, feel free to reach out to me or to us on Twitter. And thank you very much.